live. Hey, Mona, we're live.
Hey,
She
Jeanette.
just walked out and says we went live.
No.
So,
Hey, Jeanette.
Yeah, how did you do that? As soon as I said we're going live, and then you just jump up and you run away. It's kind of like, Mona, where's Mona? Where is Mona? Anyway, wow. Happy American History Month, the Black Edition.
The Black Edition. I
The
like
Black
that.
Edition. Yeah. So we're going to be celebrating the Black Edition, American History Month, the Black Edition, all month long. So we're going to be trying to highlight some people that we both honor and respect, living and perhaps not living. But we're just going to be talking about, as always, issues that we think are really important to our community. So, we're starting to hear some really good feedback. So I'm really happy about that, Mona.
I am too.
Yeah. But, tonight we're going to be asking why powerful women speak up for themselves. But at the same time, they minimize abuse when it threatens elite systems. That's kind of strange. So we're going to try to explore that a little bit. We're talking from Epstein, because yes, folks, we're going to talk about Epstein tonight.
We have to.
Megyn Kelly. Yeah, to Megyn Kelly. We want to examine the silence, the justification, and how power survives exposure. Even when they're exposed, power still keeps chugging along unscathed. So this is about age. Well, it's not about age. It's about who gets protected, and I think by whom. So tonight, we're not going to do the usual countdown. Roll it, Mona. Yeah, and then that would be me. That part is me.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies.
Let it
resound.
Let it resound.
Loud as the rolling sea.
I like this part right here. Come on.
Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
All right.
Now we add a little something to it. Just to encourage you. We're going to take it to church later. Let's go.
We'll keep marching right until the victory is won.
To all my brothers out there.
Hold your head up, brother, till the victory is won.
To all my sisters in the struggle.
Keep believing, sister, till the victory is won.
Till that day.
Till that day comes. Let us march on
To victory.
till victory is won. Is won.
To the black independent, where we speak truth to power, unapologetic.
For too
long, the black vote has been treated like a given. But we're not property. We're not pawns. We are the descendants of those who built this nation. And now, we're demanding tangibles, not tokenism. Because the era of blind loyalty is over. This is the Black Independent. Let's get to work.
Let's get to work, Mona. Let's get to work.
Let's get to work. We got a lot of work to do.
We really do have a lot of work to do. And, you know, I want to say to the listening audience, we're not just talking about me and Mona, we're talking about all of us.
All of us.
There is a lot of work to do, and you just have to find out or find what that is that you're supposed to do. We're not just sitting back, staying out of dim streets, as they say. We are actually working behind the scenes, doing what we can to learn what we need to do to make things happen for Black folks in what I call this new iteration of what America is going to be. Too many things have been broken down. Too many things have been broken down and will need to be rebuilt. So a lot of work.
A lot of work. Takes us right into our next guest, who's asking for us to do what we can. Let's bring him on.
Yeah, before we get started with the Epstein, we have Walter Smith. I said Walter Smith the second or junior, but do you say junior or the second? I don't know, because you got a third, so it's kind
of a third. You have a third. Yes,
you do.
Very proud of him. Very proud of him.
Yes, I know you are. I know you are. I've kind of watched him from when he was just a baby, and you guys have really worked with third, I'm going to say, in such a marvelous way that I'm proud of you guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. I love when those names in our family, we have David Davis the fifth. So fifth generation.
Right.
What? You guys have a fifth?
The fifth, yes. And my brother's son is the third. So I love that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we actually have seven. There's actually 8. There are 8 Walters now from my family on both sides. On both sides.
You got to be
8, yeah. Wow. Yeah, but we're named after my great grandfather, who was Walter Lee. That we're named after Walter Lee. Okay. He was Walter Lee, and my father and my son and I are Walter Lee Smith, the first, second, and third.
Oh my gosh. You know what? Mona and I have been talking because we do a lot of ancestry. We try to figure out our generations. And so we tapped into ancestry.com, excuse me. And we're going to be bringing on somebody and who happens to be my cousin, who has done our lineage way back. And we're going to bring her on to talk about that and the importance of that. So I applaud those who are seconds and thirds and fourths, all the way to fifth.
It's a real treat. It's a real treat to know.
Yes, it sounds like it. Yeah. We might have to have you on just to talk about your tree.
Walter, it's an honor. It's an honor to carry on that tradition.
It is. It is.
Yep.
I'm very grateful.
And when the next generation carry it on, that means they're really proud of the forefathers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And they're just they understand the whole lineage thing. So I was thrilled to get your call the other day, and I'm sorry I couldn't take it, but when I got it today and you started talking, I was thinking like, okay, well, I can do something, that's true, but how do we help you get that word out? So Walter, as you guys know, is a civil engineer for the environment. I know I'm messing that up, but you can kind of clear that up. You can clear that up. What you actually do, environmental engineer, excuse me. And so he's been steadily working on some real major projects that most of us don't really pay attention to, our environment and the impact that a lot of what big business is doing to our lives. And we need people who are paying attention to those things. So Walter, I want you to talk what it is that you do, and what do you need from us in this whole march toward the environment?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, first of all, I want to say that I have watched you guys go to work, doing what you're doing right now, and I am excited about what you are doing. I really am. As a host of my own show on NPR, I am really excited to see you guys doing what you're doing, and I want to extend that invitation to you publicly to come on to the Sunday Forum so that we can do some joint talk, do whatever we need to do to do this on a regular basis. Okay, so I definitely
I'm game. I don't know. I have to talk to my partner, but I'm game. I'm ready.
And both of you have been in my studio before.
Promote, we are Black independence. We're always game for that. Thank you, Walter.
You got it. You got it. So specifically, what I do is I am an environmental and civil engineer. I'm also an epidemiologist. So I study illnesses and impacts on people and humans with regard to environmental illnesses or environmental impacts that cause illnesses on humans. And more specifically, we have to take into account the fact that when we look at environmental impacts, just to start out, okay, when we look at environmental impacts, typically Black folks are not included or don't participate typically in environmental justice type of things. It's only recently that we've started to see an emergence of Black folks getting involved in the EJ fight, right? And it's very important that we push for that. The reason for that is because of the issue of sustainability. When we talk about sustainability, we're talking about 3 tiers of sustainability: economics, environment, and social aspects of our communities. If any one of those tiers is broken or damaged in any kind of way, then it's important for us to recognize we have to repair it, right? And only we can do that. Only we can repair that. And we have to start looking at social justice issues. We have to start looking at how to repair them. We have to start looking at our economics and how to repair it. And then we have to start looking at our environment as a whole. Sustainability really is an environmental aspect, right? And so we start looking at that. We've not been very good at that, right? We've not paid attention to it. But here's the other part of that story. The other part of that story is that when it comes to the impacts from environmental injustice, if you will, right? We are at the top of the list of every single one of those issues.
Wow.
Every single one. When we talk about, go ahead. I'm sorry, Mona. Go ahead.
Do you think it because we just didn't know, we just wasn't aware, and now that we are being a little bit more aware, that we are more involved and we do care, we understand the benefits of knowing the harm that all of this has done to us?
I think that now we're starting to, right? As I said before, we are emerging into becoming more, establishing more of a foothold in the battle, right? I think that we have fought these things for a long time, but we didn't have a name for it, right? There wasn't a name for it. For instance, we talk about, which is what one of the reasons I'm here today with you, is we talk about the issue of the energy burden, right? The energy burden is an environmental issue that attacks our social, economic, and our environmental well-being. Okay. Yeah. And what happens is big businesses, and this is very important to know. 75% in this nation, 75% or more of our communities are what you call fence line communities, or sit right next to an industrialized operation that creates or releases hazardous materials. Think about that.
Well, okay. I mean, let me just say, when I was younger and I lived in Progress Village for a little bit, the Civic Council was fighting the gypsum plant over there off of, I don't know, 41.
41. That's correct. That's correct.
And I was just passing, but coming back from Sarasota, I was coming down 41, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember when. Now it's got trees and it's got plants and whatever else. But when it didn't, that stuff would blow into Progress Village. And I remembered the civic council because I was a kid, but I was helping out. They were fighting against the gypsum plant. And so I don't know what it was called at that time. You're right. We didn't really have a name for it. But they were, but we were fighting environmental injustice even back when I was 30, 40, 50, 60. Okay, I gotta stop.
Stop counting.
And it's still going on today.
And it still goes on today. And here's the thing about it, ladies. When you start looking at the realities of business, right? Big business and the industrialized businesses like Tampa Electric Company, who's the subject of what we're going to be dealing with this evening. Listen, Tampa Electric Company has taken advantage of us in some very, very devastating ways.
Okay.
And so to explain, when we look at organizations, right? Who are our sponsors? Who's amongst our sponsors? Right?
Chico.
Tampa Electric Company, right?
Yeah.
Chico.
Or Mosaic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Mosaic,
you see these organizations that are part of our boards. We put them on our boards because we think that it's a great thing to do. When in reality, this is what's happening.
Oh my gosh.
They are robbing us. They are
buying our
in some instances poisoning us, depending on where you live. And the environment in which we live can be sacrificed as long as we keep our mouth shut. So I'm going to give you a scholarship like they did in Progress Village, right? And when I say they, I mean Mosaic. Give scholarship money and money and things like that to Progress Village to try to calm them, to keep them docile, right? So we're going to keep the Negroes docile while we go ahead and take advantage of them, right?
My God.
So what we do is we do just that. We shut our mouths or we defend them and we say, well, let's say, Master, we sick. You know, Master, our house burning down, right? And so we have got to get out of that mentality and start really understanding what it is that's happening to us. Now, let me share with you some of the things that we don't realize. Now, for the longest time of all, we have got to recognize that there is absolutely no transparency. Have you ever asked yourself that question? What transparency do we really have with our energy company? Right? How many people actually know what a coal combustion plant does? Right. How many people recognize what a coal ash pond is? It's another question. How many people knew?
So most people would assume that the government has some type of regulations in place to oversee these kind of things.
That's right. You would think so.
Not so.
You would think so. And let me tell you, no, let me tell you, it's been weak. It's been weak.
I almost think
when you think about 40 some years, I'm now am 52 years old. At 52 years old, I'm thinking about the fact that for 40 some years, most of my lifetime, those coal ash ponds with radioactive material, with arsenic, with all the worst poisons you could possibly think of, are sitting at the bottom of an unlined pond. Right. So the sediment at the bottom of these ponds for 40 some years was sitting there. And the fact that there was a release into our groundwater, into the public groundwaters, of which we do not know the extent.
Wow.
Okay.
Many of us didn't even know what the heck a release was or why that was important.
And many of us still don't know what
many of us still don't know
a release is.
Exactly. And the fact that we have an aquifer that supplies our fresh water,
right,
that many of us in rural areas near 41 are tapped into by water well, right? You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Then you have farmers out there. You have all these things that are happening. We don't know the extent of the damage that happened then, right? Okay, now we don't know truthfully where the water wells are, where the monitoring wells are that would measure that, much less most people in our community, much less understand what a monitoring well is. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So when I talk to people, quite often it goes right over their head. So that's why I have these think tanks to try to get people to understand what this is and the danger to us. It is as dangerous as when we look at now. So I'm going to bring it home to everybody here. Okay. How many people out there watching, just ask yourselves this question. How many people out there watching know about the fact that there were land fields right underneath us in East Tampa and in Lincoln Gardens and in Progress Village, wherever we were, there were landfills, right? Watch this. How many people know they were never remediated?
That they were never what?
They were never remediated. They were never fixed. They were never cleaned out. Never
They were never taken care of.
And put houses on top of them.
And put houses on. Yeah, that's the way they did us. And when you think about it, we do understand. Let me ask you this: what about these AI facilities they need to put up? Are you familiar with and making sure that
right, artificial intelligence. Okay,
so, that they're not in our areas.
Right. I don't know enough about that to speak on that. I'm becoming more acquainted with it. But let me tell you what the implication is. The implication of an AI system knowing what the AI takes on the form of whomever it is that controls it.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So AI functions at the behest of the master, right? The person who designed it. It's designed for a specific purpose. Now, with that, we have to ask ourselves the question, what is the purpose of that AI system? Right? What is the real purpose of the AI system? So I'll go that far with it. We need to be aware of that, and it's going to require us to demand transparency along the way. We need to, just like I'm saying this evening, we need to demand transparency of Archie Collins, right? And Tico. We need to not only
tell us what it is that you want. Tell us what it is that you want us to do.
What we need, number one, is to pay very close attention to our bills. We are getting high electric bills, very high electric bills.
Extremely high.
And the reason for that are numerous. Number one, they continue to use a coal combustion plant that they have no intention on shutting down until 2045. Okay?
Oh, wow.
Let me tell you what that means. The cost of burning fossil fuels. What's that now?
And we're paying for that.
We're paying for that. We're paying for the repairs. We're paying for the use of an outdated system that need not be in function at all.
Right.
Consider this. We also have a gas plant out there. Now, that gas plant we can deal with as a transition to solar, right? If you go out there, if you've ever been on my Toxic Bus tour, you will notice that there are now solar fields in certain points around the Tico plant. The question you have to ask yourselves is this: what are those solar fields being used for? Are they creating how many people in our community are those solar fields actually creating energy for?
Right.
And are they really creating energy for us at all? Or are they creating energy more for Tico as opposed to us?
Yeah.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Yeah, great question.
So here are questions that you would only ask yourself if you were at that Toxic Bus tour, or if you had been at one of the training sessions that I've done, right? The think tanks. These are very important questions that you have to ask yourselves, okay? And so the next question that you have to look at is, what happened when they got those rate increases, right? What happened? When you got those rate increases, the first thing that happened was they gave their homeboys, I say their homeboys, the other large businesses, they gave them a break.
Yeah.
But the money that they gave them a break off of, guess what? That was on our bill.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the first thing. So that's their discount is on our back, right? Then we have to look at the fact that they went and got another rate increase. They've gotten 4 back to back.
Yeah.
Their PSC, the Public Service Commission, is rubber stamping them to do it, rubber stamping it. Okay. And as they go in, you have to consider that the next reason they're doing this thing is because they say they have to recover from a hurricane that happened 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago, it takes 2. So with all that money that you have, you mean 2 years ago, I have yet to see any benefit that we have had if we paid into it, which we have. If we paid into it, I have yet to see any benefit from that. Again, transparency. Right? If there is, great. What is it? What is it?
Yeah.
Well, I could tell you who have seen benefits because I have a little bit of stock in Tico, and I had it for a long time. And a very small amount, but they keep trying to make me, they want to buy it back, and I won't let them do it. And I used to get little checks for 99 cents, $1.99.
Hey, get that.
But once
I have no listen.
But no, once they start,
I don't blame you.
Once they start these increases, I mean, I'm getting checks for $54. Got one as high as 90.
What?
I know they're making money. I know they're making money.
Did
I
you
have
know how much Tico stock costs right now?
They're not moved. They're investors they're making money.
Yeah, they are. They are. So Walter, what is your ask for the audience? What do you want us to know? And what, if anything, do you want us to do?
Listen, we are doing a letter writing campaign right now to board members, specific board members. And we are publicizing this information in order to make certain that they are held accountable. Because what happens is board members hide on these boards because in order to stay clean, right? They just they hide it and they throw the rock, hide the hand, and everything is fine, right? Okay. So now but they've clearly supported the damage that it has done to us in our communities. They supported that. Do you so every time that a child is taken out of their home because they are in public housing and the mama and daddy can't afford to pay their light bill, every time a child is taken out of the home, guess what? They voted for that. Every time because that bill is too high, they did that.
Yeah.
Every time that there's somebody that the energy is cut off and that child can't do his homework, guess what? They voted for that.
Yeah.
Every time that something like that happens, they voted for it. And so they are adding to the problem and not being a part of the solution. We need to hold them accountable.
Right.
We need to hold them accountable. They can no longer hide behind the Tico moniker or the Emera moniker and their name not be called out as being accountable for voting for and supporting these type of business measures that Tico and Emera as the mother company, Emera, a lot of people don't know that either. Emera in Nova Scotia, Canada are taking. And you have to take into account that, and see, again, every May I hold this meeting, right? It's a board meeting that we open up the phone lines and everything so that people can witness firsthand what's being said in the Emera board meeting. The annual board meeting is held every May, right? You know this, Jeanette. You know this, Mona. I do it every single time, every year.
I've been to a couple of them. Yes, at HCC, when you have your little small ones. So how can people follow you? Tell them how to get in contact with you. Say on Facebook, you have all that information out, and all we need to do is send letters to the board.
Right. Okay, so
tell us what to do.
There's a specific strategy. There's a very specific strategy. And the strategy, I don't want to put out live like this to everybody per se, but I will say this. You can get in contact with me at walter.smith@sierraclub.org.
Walter.smith at, see, I'm writing this.
At
Sierra
sierraclub.org.
Sierra, S-E.
SIERRA club, CLUB.org.
All right.
Okay. You can get in contact with me there, and I can give you the information that way. It's better I do it that way because next month we're going to focus in on another board member. But right now we're doing this, and no one knows the direction that we're going in, but we just know that we're holding them accountable. Just know that.
Okay. All right. So to the listening audience, get in touch with Walter. Here's where you can get in touch. Ask the questions and let's get engaged. That's what we need to be doing right now, as we are not in them streets, but we are doing the work. So, Walter,
Right.
We appreciate you doing the work as well, because as I said, everybody has to find that niche that they can do, and you are doing it. And you've been doing it for I don't know how long, but a very long time.
Years.
For a very long time. Thank you,
Yes,
Walter.
yes. Thank
and
you,
we
lady.
will keep promoting it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, and thank you very much.
All right, Walter.
So, Jeanette, that is
Yes.
something we could all do. And here's where we're going to be able to show our power, our voting power, versus in this, because I see no significant power in the streets right now, in my opinion. So,
Well, maybe
is-
maybe we'll see it March 28th when the white folks go out into those streets by the millions across the country. But even though we're not advocating that Black people get in them streets, if you will, we are saying there's a lot of things that we can be doing. And what Walter is doing is one of them. I think what we're doing is something else. We see other podcasts that are engaging or trying to engage the public so that we can become, as you say, mature voters. Because once we vote, that everything that happens after that, you take responsibility for it. In terms
Absolutely.
of what Walter said about his board, they made the vote,
You
and
have someone like Walter, and he requests the community to get behind him, then that's what we have to do.
Engage
He's
people.
doing the heavy lifting, and it takes very little to send an email.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So we're just asking you to engage, send an email. And, that's something you can also do even with your Congress people on the various issues that impact our community. There is still things for us to do. Mona,
Yes.
tonight's conversation is about power. Not shock, not rumor, not spectacle. Now, listen to this. When Melinda Gates asked, how did this happen to those girls? Y'all stay with us. You're going to catch on. This episode is about the Epstein files. Melinda Gates wasn't asking about a mystery. She was expressing distance from a white created system that thrives on silence and proximity. Those are two words that we need to understand as a group. The white system thrives on silence and proximity. So Jeffrey Epstein didn't operate in the dark. He did not operate in the dark. And as we see more and more, we see a whole lot of people that knew exactly what he was doing. Now, Black folks, we didn't know what he was doing because for whatever reason, we operate, somebody said one thing Black folks do, they follow the rules. They follow the rules, right? Especially as we go up, we follow the rules and we expect everybody else is going to follow the rules and everybody expects that we're going to follow the rules. So he didn't operate in the dark. He operated in plain sight, protected by wealth, institutions and people who chose comfort over confrontation. So they knew, but it was like, nah, I'm not going to say anything. Nobody's going to come after me. So this is true in a lot of households too out there. A lot of white households in particular. They see the wrong. They can see what white men are doing, but they're silent. So today we're asking who protected Jeffrey Epstein and why some voices grow quiet when accountability threatens power. So Mona?
Wow.
I'm going to let you get us started with that.
Yeah, so tonight we're going to focus on the Epstein files, elite protection, and powerful women who minimize abuse. And that's where we're going to come into this first video, Jeanette. I saw the video and I had to play it again. And something caught me. And I wasn't sitting down watching it, but my head turned when I heard a certain word. And I had to rewind and play it again. Let's play Melinda Gates.
Okay, bring her up.
No girl should ever be put in the situation that they were put in by Epstein and whatever was going on with all of the various people around him. No girl. I mean, it's beyond heartbreaking, right? I remember being those ages, those girls were. I remember my daughters being those ages, right? So for me, it's personally hard whenever those details come up, right? Because brings back memories of some very, very painful times in my marriage, but I have moved on from that. I purposely pushed it away and I moved on. I'm in a really unexpected, beautiful place in my life. So whatever questions remain there of what I can't even begin to know all of it, those questions are for those people and for even my ex-husband. They need to answer to those things, not me.
Well,
and I am so happy to be away from all the muck that was there.
I have to put more words to the muck for context for our listeners. The emails in the files suggest that Bill Gates had additional affairs and that he tried to get medication to treat a sexually transmitted infection and that he was going to give you the medicine without you knowing. His representative has said all of this is false. It is not on you to have to respond to the details of that alleged behavior, but I wonder what your dominant emotion is when you read these news articles with these details.
Okay, Rika, I'll assume what her dominant emotion was. But what got me when she says, my God, how did that happen to those girls? Those girls, as if they were disposable.
Yeah.
Because, my God, it certainly couldn't happen to my girls. But they're inexpensible. And that's why I believe that things like this can happen. And I often wonder, just lately here, particularly since Megyn's been such a big thing, every time I turn on Facebook, another white preacher or teacher or somebody who's a Trump supporter is being arrested for child abuse.
I know.
And I sit and think, Jeanette, what type of man? And these men are married with children and daughters. Because is it okay to do something to someone else's daughter that you wouldn't dare allow? And what kind of human being could do that? See, these people are soulless to me. And I have a problem with that. I don't know. And for her, because she knew what was going on. She knew what was going on.
Yeah, yeah. She knew what was going on for a while.
Yeah.
And I think that's likely true for a lot of folks, especially in marriages. And full disclosure, I've never been married, but there can't, but surely the signs were there. And then when she
Oh,
knew, she still stayed. And then when she knew, she still stayed. And when she even met Epstein, she decided that he was a creep, if you will.
absolutely.
But she still stayed because her husband kept going back and kept going back. So
Mhm.
there is a code of silence, I think, within the white community. And I'm not just talking about the Epstein files. I mean, in general, even with some of my friends, and we would get together and talk. We'd be together, and one of my friends would say, "You wouldn't want to know what happens in our community, what's being said." You know, she said, "You," and I said, "I would not be surprised," but she said, "It's really bad." And I said to her, "The only thing you can do for us as Black people is to defend us in those places where we are not, right? Because
Mhm.
the silence of good white people is what perpetuates the illness that these white men have with regard to how they treat other people, whether they're Black or any other um, um, race. But we're now talking, let me just say it, 1,200 little girls that belong to families, right? That knew people, and people knew the Epsteins, people knew but they were silent. They were just silent. People even had the files. I mean, the government had the files for I don't know
And
how long.
I'm talking about big people. When I did some research on this, it goes all the way back to Clinton, the Bush,
Yes.
Obama, all of these powerful people. But then I start following the Mormon religion after this one, I forget her name, a big killing in the Mormon church. And they have a podcast. And I start
Mhm.
following the podcast. And the amount of sexual abuse in that
Oh,
religion reminded me when the fallout with the Catholic
yeah.
Church.
I
And
do.
I'm
I do
assuming
follow. I followed this one young lady who I think you might be talking about that left her
yes,
husband and left the church.
she
And
left the church and now she does this
yeah,
podcast.
yes,
And
I follow her.
I'm just like, and I'm talking about the abuse that's inside of their home, that a man and wife sleeping in the same bed and the father
Yeah,
sleeping with the kids, the
yeah.
daughters.
So the silence within, white women have a lot of power, but they have decided long time ago that the only way they can have that power is through their men, right? So
But I
they
don't think so,
see,
Jeanette. I don't think so, because who raised baby boys? Who birthed these children? We do. We have the power. And if you was raising your kids to respect you as a woman, his sisters, his cousins, females, I don't understand. I can remember my mother telling my brother all of our life, even my father for that short period of time, you don't speak to a woman this way. Even telling us, you
okay,
can't. I used to
wait, wait, Nona.
agonize him all the time. And
I'm
he
not,
says,
I'm
you
not,
can't provoke me.
I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about a Black family. I'm not even talking
I
about
know,
Black women.
but that's
I'm
what I'm
talking
saying.
about white women. I don't think white women and Black
I
women
know.
have the same perspective on power or their own sort of self-efficacy, how effective they can be as individuals standing on their own. You've got white women and black women, and black women feel they can move.
Yes.
White women feel they can move with white men. Without white men, they don't have that security, they don't have that protection. I truly believe as a whole, I'm not talking about the outliers, as a whole, you see of two different ways the two groups of women move in America. And you can see that in their voting behavior.
Sure. Yeah. Vote against their best interest. Vote against their daughter's best interest. And that is probably why.
But why do they do that? But why do they? But why do they do that?
Daughters.
Why do they vote against their interests rather than teaming with or aligning with Black women? Let's talk about case in point November 2024. Why do they not vote in their best interests? Why do they not align with Black women? What is it that they're missing?
They don't even have to align with us. They don't even align with themselves. They don't even align the amount of tragedy, stress that these girls, I can imagine, go through with this type of abuse when they knew who Donald Trump was. They knew that and voted for him overwhelmingly.
That's correct. Because that is because it's known in their community.
Like you
they
said,
know
proximity
that
to power.
Huh?
I guess they want proximity to power,
which is what I'm
what
saying.
you said. What you said earlier, and they want that, and they're willing to sacrifice their own children.
That's correct, and that is
sacrifice them. Where I believe our parents will kill a MF for touching us. I know my mother used to say it all the time, you know.
That is true.
And I used to say, I believe I could kill someone with my bare hands if they mistreat my daughter.
And that is not to say to the audience, that is not to say that there are some abnormalities within the Black community, because you do have the whole sexual, what have you. But culturally and the norms, but culturally, if we look at the bell-shaped curve, for the most part, it is not within our culture to harm our children in such a way. It seems
it's running amok. It's running amok in their culture.
It seems more
from the beginning of time.
And that, I guess that's the point that I'm making. So if we look back historically, and even now they want to, in one of these states, they want to take the marriage age down to like 13 or 14 years old, right? So for them, it is sort of normal, and they're trying to normalize behavior that probably is already occurring in many instances, where the kids are being sexually exploited without the marriage. So they're trying to now legalize something that may or may not, but my guess is may be happening anyway. So we need to really look at it. And you know, Black women, if we look at our own history in terms of the rape that was going on for us, not just in slavery, but after slavery as well, and nobody being held accountable for it. I think white men in power, or those who think they have power, feel that they can do whatever they want to. And the white women in their presence tend to be silent about their behavior. They tend to be silent. I mean, the case in point with Megyn Kelly, for example.
Oh, wow. Now that's a whole different story, because I can remember when Megyn Kelly first came on the scene, like a straight shooter down the middle. Like I said, I used to look at Fox in the beginning. Bill O'Reilly.
I can't believe you actually admit that. admit that.
Yeah, I do admit that because I was more. I'm moderate, but I'm conservative. Okay, always. And I can remember one night it was time for my daughter to go to bed, and I said it was 8 o'clock. I said, no, it's time for you to go to bed. We've looked at all what you need to look at. I'm gonna look at. She says, oh, I don't mind. I'll look at Bill O'Reilly too. I said, oh, you don't care
Oh
about
my
Bill.
God, you watched that too?
I mean, like, oh yeah, I did. When they first started, it was really cool, but they lost their freaking mind. They lost their freaking ever mind when
Yeah.
Obama became president, and that's when I had to. Um, Now they used to go after Bill Clinton like none other
Mhm.
as a Democrat versus a Republican, but
Right.
when Obama, they could not accept this Negro as the head of the free the president of the free country. They just couldn't do it. And it just got worse. And then I had to pull away. But Megyn Kelly, uh, I could remember when she came out during the Me Too. You remember in 2020 when all that was going on, the Me Too?
Yep. Yeah.
And first Bill O'Reilly got caught up in the Me Too, which I probably figured because it's all these men who think they're alphas, but they're really betas type of men's, and probably couldn't get women's, but they could get them now because they got money. Definitely not
Mhm.
on any other merit other than
Mhm.
the position they hold and the money they have. And that's the control that they like over. So apparently she was experiencing that kind of harassment at Fox News.
She
And
did.
can you play the video with her and Gail King?
Yeah, she did experience the harassment. And while I felt a little bad for her, it was short lived
Yes.
because I think that let me make sure I get, here we go.
News anchor Megyn Kelly, which aired live here on CBSN and on Facebook Live. And at one point, Kelly got emotional while talking about her decision to come forward about her alleged sexual assault harassment by former company chairman Roger Ailes.
In the book, I write about this moment where I sat on my porch swing in New Jersey, looking through my phone at my pictures of my kids. And there's a picture of Yardley in her white dress with red polka dots and her sneakers. She was up on the monkey bars from which she had fallen a couple of weeks earlier, got stitches in her head, and she had gotten back up there. And I thought to myself, this will not happen to one more woman at Fox News. Ever. And I didn't want Yardley to have to make the same choices I did. So I picked up the phone and I called Lachlan Murdoch. And I told him to get his general counsel on the phone because I had something to tell him. What?
Now, she said that this wouldn't happen to one more woman at Fox News or her daughter. And I think Jeanette has been kicked out.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No.
I'm
She
here.
said
I had,
She
go
said
ahead.
this wouldn't happen. She said that this wouldn't happen to not one other woman at Fox News or her daughter. Now that was in 2020.
Yep.
Last year, in 2025, Epstein files was coming out. And I heard this comment. And these comments always, because I can always refer back to how people could feel what was going on with her. And I'm going to tell you my thinking. I'll say it before it even starts. So
Mhm.
I know I tell a lot of my young customers as they get ready to go into the workforce, corporate America, my daughter, particularly for Black women, if you keep a certain way about yourself, you're not joking with men, you're not wearing revealing clothes, going and do your work, do your job, come home. Time someone get out of line, don't brush it off. You have to stop them immediately. And I think you'll be okay. But
So
I know the story behind her thing where the guy who owned Fox News, because she told a long story
yeah,
about how he would do certain things, how he would touch her. Well, if you're gonna let this stuff go on, and you're a grown ass woman, and you don't
yeah,
put him in that place, but what you're saying is, I'm willing to take this to keep the job, and that's what she was doing. You're no different than, I don't want to say a streetwalker, but I'm sure when not a streetwalker, what you might call a call girl. She might get called to do a certain thing and she agreed. They both adults, we're gonna agree to do this. But once you get in that room, he's gonna do whatever you want. And you're gonna do it because you want the money. You're not gonna walk away. Because if you don't want to do it, you have to leave the money. And that's where we compromise.
yeah.
What's your thought?
I think that you're absolutely right that no means no, and you have to be very emphatic and very direct about anybody making any kind of advance of any sort, quid pro quo, whatever the issue is. You have to be very steadfast and um, not sort of encourage that indirectly. So there can be some flirting at work, being an ex-human resources exec. But you have to be smart enough to make sure your no means no. All right. And
If
don't
that's
play the
what you
game.
really do.
Don't play the
Absolutely.
games.
If
Don't
that's
play
what
the
you
game.
really do. Absolutely.
Now, the only way I might differ is, what you wear. That made, I don't want to dress for the next person to keep the next person, on the straight and narrow. I want to dress for what accentuates my body or what looks good on me and what have you. And as long as it's within the code of the workforce, I'm good.
Well, to
So
a
if I
certain
want to wear
degree.
a tight sweater or a tight t-shirt, I can do that.
Absolutely.
Can't decide not to do it because somebody else might, be attracted to me and make lewd advances. But my no has to mean no, even though I may dress in a way that might be sexually suggestive, if you will, and that's just relative, in my opinion. So that's a
Well,
difficult one.
well, when I say that, I like my daughter, we're heavy chested, right? And you can't wear shirts where your breast is showing at work. You just can't,
Mhm.
in my
Yeah.
opinion. And like I
No,
said, I'm very modest. I'm very modest. I'm never that prevailing anyway. And so I try to say it is a certain way one should go to work, in my opinion. In my opinion, particularly when you're young, because you don't know how to handle when somebody says something to you out of. You are gonna let it go. So don't put
Yeah.
yourself in those predicaments.
Understand
Now,
what you're saying, definitely.
a grown woman should be able to handle herself, but I'm talking about 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds. These dirty old men are going to be dirty old men.
Yeah, true.
Mm-hmm.
True that.
So can you play her second video, and then we'll take it from there.
I can. If I can find her share screen.
There for a lot of this. but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls. I don't know what's true about him, but we have yet to see anybody come forward and say, I was I was under 10. I was under 14 when I first came within his purview. Look, you can say that's a distinction without a difference.
No, it's not.
I think there is a difference. Yeah. There's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old. You know, it's just whatever. It's.
So how old was she when she brought the Me Too thing? She said ate her up. So you're trying to tell me it's a difference between, and of course it's a difference, but it shouldn't have been coming out of her mouth. A difference between a 5-year-old and a 15-year-old.
Well, Fox News.
And a 15-year-old should be able to handle, you know,
right.
those girls should be able to handle it, but she couldn't.
Right. Fox News, as Walter Smith says, is a joke. Megyn is a product of Fox News, and they're like this very sick, sort of incestuous family. They're a clan of people that covers each other's butts. And they, even when they know that the other person is wrong, they bend over backwards to try to cover them without saying, you know, and that's what she was doing. She was literally realizes that she had the experience and yet could not just say, you know, Epstein is a pervert and everybody around him.
Well, I think for them, everything goes back to money. And she sued Fox News for a considerable amount of money. She makes good money. I could not, I don't know if I would, because whatever an adult do, I don't have a problem. So if they want to go, even like the Diddy thing, if you're not forced to do something and they want to have these parties or whatever they want to do as adults, I'm fine. But when you, a grown man like him, is sleeping with 17, 18-year-olds, 15, 14, I in my mind, I know I want one man to explain to me why you would want to sleep with a child. I can't imagine that. And then we got our president all over the Epstein files, these last ones that came out. Someone said his name was mentioned.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact number, but less than 40,000. So somewhere between 35 and 40,000 times Donald Trump's name was mentioned.
It is mentioned a lot.
That is crazy. That is sick.
For me, the story here is less about Donald Trump, Epstein, and Bill Clinton and Bill Gates and the whole list of folks that may be there. The more that we learn, I'm more concerned with the white women. You know, these are our counterparts. The white women over here who continue to follow. I'm very concerned about that. I'm concerned about Black voters who voted for Trump who continue to follow. I'm very, very concerned about that, because in that instance, we've created an environment, if they are the majority that of the voting electorate and they put Trump in office, we've created an environment here in the United States of America that is not safe for children, is not safe for women, right? And they are voting, as Walter mentioned before, the board members on TICO, when a family gets put out of a house because, you know, for whatever reason, then it's their fault because they voted for those raises and that type
Because,
thing. And I
because of their
truly
greed. Because of their greed.
exactly. And the same thing here. I believe that from a political standpoint, that when I vote and the person that I vote for does something that is so egregious, I'm feeling like that's me. I voted for that, right? And I don't give people excuses to pick and choose. We know Black voters, for example, males it was around 12%, women it was around 8%, but we know Black voters who move among us, right, who continue to vote or support Donald Trump or this administration. So what does that say about America and their silence? Back to the reason we're here, the silence and their desire for proximity is overriding the safety of America or the well-being of America. And I have an issue with them one by one by one, right? I have a problem talking to someone who continues to support after all of this
And mine
information.
might be mine might be a bit different because I know Black women who voted for Trump, and they said, "Oh, because of the abortion narrative, Christianity." And I said, "Huh, your morality is, I'm sorry, sister, is not there. If you could vote for somebody like this man and all the people who he represents and all of the people who gathered around him, those people have no morals. You know that. You know that. And you willing to put that aside for this make believe you don't believe in abortion. Then don't fucking get one.
That's a bunch of crap.
But you're
That's a bunch
okay
of,
with that. It is a bunch of crap.
It is
and
unacceptable.
You know he's not a Christian. You know the people that's around.
In my opinion,
Christian. You know the.
In my opinion, Black Republicans who continue to support today, and I say this, and I know that we may have some as listening audience who actually know me, it is absolutely unacceptable that they would continue to support Trump with all of this information. I don't care how they feel about the right, pro-life versus not. What I care about is you choosing someone who has been, who has graped, as people say, young girls, and it's evident in the Epstein files. And it doesn't take an idiot to understand what has been happening for years upon years, right?
Yes.
I am afraid, and not only that, but you've got someone who says, you know what, we've got an election coming up, and he hasn't said this part, I've screwed up enough that we're not going to win the midterms. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to take over the midterms from a federal. Someone who, yeah, and you know what, by the way, screw the Constitution, don't care about that. So given the information we have as citizens, given the deaths of people at the hands of ICE, Black, white, and indifferent, and you still support the Republican Party, I'm not just talking about Trump, the Republican Party,
as a whole,
that is a problem for me. And you can't say anything. You can say nothing to me, absolutely nothing. And I told you, I have a brother that voted for Trump 3 times. So I get it. And he understands where I am on this. And we talk about this ad nauseum so that when it is time to vote in the midterms, Trump is not on the ballot. We cannot continue giving him power. Plus, they're about to put him out to pasture anyway, not us. They are, because Trump has is outliving his usefulness to the people in the background who really are creating the policies, who's turning the country into a fascist um, um, rule, under fascist rule. But Walter says, but there have long been a history of white women and how they are raised from before the antebellum period. This behavior is not new, and these people voted for this behavior to continue, and they did. In their silence,
Yeah.
they know that they are the
Yeah.
ones in power, and they afraid that you will be in power. And that's worse than what they are experiencing in terms of their daughters being raped by wealthy white men. You being in power is worse to them than what they're experiencing behind closed doors in their homes. Think about that. Think about that.
And it is so unbelievable. And I've even said people I know that's Republicans, that I could no longer align myself with them because we're not the same. We don't have the same characteristic. We don't have the same morals.
That's part.
Yeah. And I realize a lot of them do not have, because they want power. I want power too.
Power over morals, power over values. Black people,
Black people over
have
anything.
morals.
It's the way it was raised. Morals are over anything. They want power over anything, and I cannot sacrifice that. So, I don't deal with them, be they black or white. I have a cousin that's a Republican, and it's like, ugh, because you don't see what these people trying to do, and we're not talking about right now. Jeanette, when we pull this onion back, and as we keep doing this, we're going to see what these people are planning for the universe.
Yes.
For the next 50 years is what they're
exactly true.
Okay. And
exactly
we don't have a clue. We don't have a clue what they're all of they people, all of the pastors, because now you got these white Christian nationalist pastors. That guy we last week, Joel Wellborn, he has the nerves to say that 99% of black pastors are not preaching the gospel, but they are. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? Because I think you people are worshiping Satan.
Well,
how in the world? Now, I don't believe in any of it. The black pastors I know, you can't. I don't know why these pastors aren't coming out. And I'm going to be looking out for Sunday, and we need to be looking out for Sunday church service to see how many pastors come out over these Epstein files with these young girls. But they're probably not, because the ones that's standing behind the pulpit screwing girls in their church. So no, they're not going to come out. And I'm talking about white pastors.
So that is true. That is true. And I think that's true. That's, when we know this was going on under Clinton, it was going on under Bush and Obama as well. So, and it just doesn't happen with Epstein. It happens in corporate America. It happens in the churches. It happens in the schools. It happens everywhere. And the silence of, I think, women, and I'm going to go so far as to say white women, because this is, I was saying to my mom, and I don't really watch television the way I used to, because I don't believe in a whole lot of the the news that coverage that's true, but I also think the television programming, you know, Law and Order, Criminal Minds, whatever. And I says, you know, you notice that all of the crime on these crime shows, 98% of it are white people committing crimes, right? Why is it that the Hollywood execs, what have you, they put it right out there in our faces that they are the big criminals, right? The serial crime, the crimes. I used to watch Criminal Minds like you wouldn't believe. I loved that show, right? I watched
I never got into it, but my mother loved it.
oh, I watched Blind Spot. I watched all of these Blind Spot. Was it? I forget what it was called, but it was something blind. It was all of the criminals. I mean, all of them, except maybe 2%. And that may have been in the last couple decades when we realized y'all ain't got no black people in these shows. So they had to make a few of us some criminals and maybe a few of us some cops. But for the most part, you can go back to McLeod and Columbo and whatever. All of the criminals were white. They were killing each other. Now,
all of the evil stuff. I mean, like really evil stuff.
Evil stuff.
Criminal Minds.
They were white. Evil.
I used to say, who could freaking think of this? They would lock someone up in the house. They will keep them down in. Oh, they're evil.
So white people.
We're not evil. Now we might shoot somebody for stepping on our shoe.
Yeah.
And you got these white. You got these white people said like crime. This is why we have to stop them from
killing their families.
People.
They were killing their families.
Yes.
They were killing their neighbors.
The whole family.
They were robbing each other. They were. It's amazing. They were telling us we really are the criminals, right? We really are the criminals. But we just thought it was all entertainment, but that was really, because that is what happens today. Those stories are real stories that happen today. Absolutely. But white people like to turn the camera to us because we might rob them because our family is hungry, right? Situations they create. We might kill them. We might kill each other because I'm mad at you because you did this to me. They don't even have reasons for doing it. They just do it because they're evil. And I'm not saying black crime, but black crime is different from white crime. It's just the motivations behind it are different because white crime, you tend to have things. And the reason you're doing it is just plain old greediness, right? I want what you've got.
Yeah.
We might have an I want what you got, but it's because I have nothing and society has made it this way because I can't get a job. I've been in prison. I blah, 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 whatever the reason is. The crimes are coming from different places. And if you look at the numbers, not the percentage, because they use percentage to trick us, to make us feel like we're the ones that are doing all the crime. If I use percentage with 44 million people and I'm using percentages of who's got the most crime, it's going to look like we have the most when actually it's them, because there's 157, 60 million of them. So the crime, although the numbers are higher, it's just, they pulled one over on us with regard to making us look like we are the criminals. But if you watch television and all of the crime shows, all the Law and Order, everything, they are pulling some really heinous crimes. And it is true. And some of it gets right into
all of those shows, they might change it a little, but all of those things happen. Now,
that's true. But wait, get to this one.
Something about
the devil worship, but the devil worshiping even is something that they do. It's in the Epstein files. That stuff that they do, eating people. It's in the Epstein files. Killing people.
Yeah.
It's in the Epstein files.
Did you see the girl from Did you see the girl from Mexico?
I saw
was
that.
out in the streets, literally having a breakdown, saying that they're eating people.
Yes, I saw that.
The
but we know they ate us. They were eating us. White people were also eating Black people. So this is
they're
not
just
new.
freaking evil. No. Well, when you said something about the family, the first thing came to my mind was this Murdoch killing. And I think it was in North Carolina. This guy family was maybe lawyers. They were, and he shot his wife and son,
right,
in the head. Just shot them.
Yep, because he had to.
Because of money.
That's right. He had to. And two, remember, he also swindled a lot of his clients in his firm. Also, before that, his son had also caused a murder of one of their friends and got off from that. So white people, white people, and this is not all white people. So folks, we're not just saying white people versus Black people. We know that there's bad in both.
No, we said white people in
white
general,
people,
and they know that.
But the silence,
they know who they are. And we need to start saying who we are, because they like to say who we are, and that ain't who we are. So we're going to change this narrative.
The silence in the white community has got to stop. They have to begin exposing what is going on in their community. And the Epstein files, there's a whole lot of folks that raped, G-R-A-P-E-D, those girls, 1,200. It wasn't just a few, it was a lot of them. But that has not been exposed, and that's intentional, and it may never be exposed because the people who are being hidden have enough money and power to keep their names at bay. So the silence within the white community to shield a lot of this heinous criminality is rampant. And what they normally like to do is point the fingers at us. But, and this is to the point that we're arguing with our buddy on text messaging. Black people stepping back and getting out of the way and allowing white people to actually see themselves, they're shooting each other now, is the most important level of resistance that we could be doing at this moment. Because I'm seeing a lot of white podcasters realizing, oh, it's us. There's something wrong with us, right? And that would never have happened if we were out in those streets protesting. We would have become the story as usual and would have been blamed, which would have given white people in general permission to continue to be silent. That is the issue. The silence and the proximity is what has to be broken down. And I think that we have to make sure that we are doing what we need to do to make sure that happens, especially with women.
So Jeanette, anytime it's not happening to a certain group of them, right? Even with, now they knew what was going on. They knew the police didn't have to kill these people, shoot them in the back. They know that.
Right. But that's always been our story. Yeah. Now it's theirs. It's always been our story.
Just
now
like
it's theirs.
Kelly. Yeah, just like Megyn Kelly, a woman who said abuse almost broke her, then can turn around and suggest that young women should have the age to withstand force, because it was those white girls, those that were beneath her and her daughters.
Yeah. Yeah.
The people that was on Epstein file, they were disposable. Although they were all probably white, everybody but black, right? So,
Mhm.
and when you get someone like Linda Gates who says
Mhm.
she can
Mhm.
move on,
Yeah.
she could rebrand herself. She gained the wealth and influence.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a movie called Hostel.
And the victims carry that lifelong, because as one of the victims, she just wrote a book. I can't remember her name. Virginia, I think it's Virginia somebody, but she killed herself.
Dufresne, yes. Right.
Okay, yes. And she killed herself because of what she went through. I don't understand them, but they're disposable.
Yeah.
They're disposable to them as long as their men are able to get their bodies off, and it's okay. I don't know.
Yeah. Walter
But
says,
she was able to.
yeah. Walter says, if you ever watch the movie Hostel, you will understand better what you're describing. Yeah. I want Black folks take the time to listen and learn to what is happening, and talk to the people in your family, talk to your friends. And if your friends are part of that 12%, 8% male, female, Black, we have to have these conversations with them. Um, Black vote is that important. We've been the moral conscience of America since it started. We have been the moral conscience of America since it started. And without us, America would not be America. Huh?
Do you think the 8%? Do you think the 8% and the 12% are too far gone? They could never come back because they're too. They thoughts. It is already too hard to try to lift us up and where we need to be.
No, I
Those
think,
people are in a sunken place.
yeah,
Those Negroes are in a sunken place.
yeah,
And we
I
have to
think
let them go.
yeah, I don't think we let them go. But I think that's where that's where our work is. I don't believe we'll ever be at 100%. So I said, maybe we're at, 98%, rather than 92%. But I think that we have to have the conversations with them. I do not think they're all too far gone, but yes, Clarence Thomas, for example, I was thinking about Clarence Thomas the other
He's
day,
gone.
and I said, huh?
He's gone, and he
Clarence
was.
Thomas. Yeah, Clarence Thomas is too far. To your point, Clarence Thomas is too far gone. So why is Clarence Thomas too far gone? And if we look at what is going on with how they were using these sex tapes to influence political figures, what have you, Clarence Thomas may be compromised. He may have a Black official card, but he may have been compromised along the way, and has to do what he's doing now. I'm not saying that,
Well,
some may
I'm
start
sorry.
out.
If you got
That's like,
compromised, and now you have to destroy us. Destroy him first. He's gone. Candace on. She's gone.
Yeah.
Candace on. But
But I'm looking at how America, no, wait. I'm looking at how America functions, how it works with its politicians, how Israel's influence over our politicians, how Epstein, who is also Jewish, um, was able to
Israel got their hands all over this.
Right. So if you look at all of that for years, this was years in the making. There is just absolutely no way people in power, real power, can escape being compromised, if you will. Maybe some do, but many do not, and they don't need 100%. They just need a critical mass, enough to influence not just the United States, but the world as well. This is a world operation here, but what they figured out with white men is they like white little girls, and that's how that's how they've gotten us. And the women have been too quiet,
But
way too quiet.
well, I also was thinking, Bill Clinton, and when when the Faust came out, right? When these women, not Bill Clinton, Bill Cosby, during the Me Too movement,
Yeah.
and in Bill Cosby case, why was it they able to plaster all of his accusers? We saw their pictures, we saw their faces, but Epstein, we aren't seeing any of these. And I'm not talking about the minors, but I'm talking about adults.
Yeah, it's a race thing.
Don't know who they are.
Race.
Yes.
It's race.
Yes. And as they want to destroy him, and is why we can't let them write the narrative. Because on Bill Cosby, I never gave up on him because all of those women was grown. And they said, he might put something in the drinks. But you went to his house. What the hell are you going there for?
You are unforgiving.
Now that's why
you are unforgiving of the women, and it's kind of like, you might have went to his house, but
I've always felt when my mother have always said, I can remember I get a call one night. Well, no, I wanted something from a political person, and they say, "Well, meet me at my house at 9:30." Well, why would I meet you at your house at 9:30? No, we can have the discussion at your office at 9 a.m.
Sensible Mona.
No, I mean, no, I mean, we have to make better judgment.
True. I agree with that. I agree with women need to be
If
better.
I 100% wanted his endorsement, and he wanted me 9:30, I know why he wanted me to come at 9:30. But I didn't want it that bad.
Right. Right. But when we look at
my brother once said, don't do anything in the dark that you're going to regret the next morning, because it will eat you up. It won't eat you up immediately, but it will eat you up. And these things, when I don't know. I'm just saying, with my mom, my grandmother, my brother, my aunts, all of them, when they were raising us and things into me, I just believed it.
Yeah. That is, I don't know. I think the bottom line is we make decisions as Americans, and I'm not just talking about Black Americans, I'm talking about all of us, based on our proximity to the ideal. And in America, the ideal is white men, because they're the ones who get to rise to power. And for a while, they were the only ones who got to be president, if you will. And they held up the white woman as the next ideal for women, and they used Marilyn Monroe as that model, right? And women and beauty pageants, when I would watch them, it was just white women. And when finally Vanessa Williams won, I was like, well, I'll be. And according to her in a recent interview,
and then
it was pure hell. They went after her. They went
Yeah.
after her. Death threats, the whole 9 yards. Of course, the nude photos that they uncovered, and so she lost her
That
crown.
they put out.
But the proximity and then the silence, because we know what's going on. As my friend said, you don't want to know what's going on in our homes. That's what she said. And the discussions that we're having. Now, she was alluding to the discussions we're having about Black people. That's what she was saying.
Sure. Yeah.
She said, you just wouldn't want to know. But I said, I am aware. But the issue, though, is
But
what
I mean,
you
we know what they're talking about because we see your policies.
yeah, correct.
We know
Correct.
how you feel. Yeah.
But we
We're
have to
not
stop.
fools.
We have to stop being silent, and we have to stop pretending that everything is okay. And I think with white women and Megyn Kelly, for example, who experienced sexual harassment in the workplace, got a major settlement. She's doing podcasting, and now she's commenting on the Epstein files, and she's kind of like pretending like, you know, it's really not
It's
that
okay.
bad.
It's what they
right?
do. Yeah, it's okay.
And
It's what they do.
that's what we as women, but that's what we need white women to stand on business, as we say in the Black community. Stand on business. And it's hard to trust that they will. It will be hard to trust again that they will in 2026 at the ballot box, because we tried to trust them in 2024 and we got egg on our face. Because
well, I think I kind of knew that they wasn't going to cross that line.
I don't know.
And
I was
and
willing to
if
believe.
we look back at some of our, if we look like some of our videos, well, we could document when I said there's no way they were going to vote for Harris. It just wasn't. Even though what they were aligned in Project 2025, they knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And not only to us, but to them too. So
right. But you know, if you think about the point when in enslavement, during that time, the slave masters were raping Black women, and the wives knew that this was happening, and these little mulatto childs, I mean, they had to make a law to say stop killing the Black children.
by evidence.
Stop killing
by
the Black
evidence, right? 9 months later. 9 months
Right.
later, you know, how did this happen? And
right.
And it just didn't happen. We know this was happening over and over. So imagine, I'm gonna do some research, but I don't want to say, but I'm not gonna confirm. I heard that what Epstein was doing was producing children. A lot of these girls was having babies, his babies.
Were they having them? I think one, I heard that one had, and a couple of miscarriages here and there. And
no, a lot of them was having
them
because they want to self-produce. You hear Elon Musk, what?
Well, Musk, I know he tells
got
everybody.
Like 12 kids.
Yeah, from different, with baby mamas, the whole 9 yards. But he's doing this intentionally on purpose. He's looking for specimens that fit
Epstein,
his right. Epstein, I don't know what
Epstein
he was doing necessarily.
Epstein was apparently doing the same thing too. So they want to repopulate the world, and now all of the
I don't
children.
know. I've not read anything that tells me that that was Epstein's thing. Epstein's thing was to he was really working for Israel, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
The file said the Rothschilds.
How exactly.
Yeah, how
exactly.
he got started. Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
So white women in their silence and their need for security from white men is the death of democracy.
Yeah.
And we definitely, I'm hoping that we can do something different in the midterms if we're having the midterms. And I say that because Trump is trying to take over the midterm election, the elections period, and make it a federal thing rather than a state by state. And Republicans are likely going to say, yeah, what a good idea. Ask one of your Republican Black friends, what do you think about that idea? They're going to be like, yeah, well, why not? That's what they're going to say. And that, to me, you no longer become my friend. Huh?
Other Republican, we're going to have to get the president of the Tampa Republican Party, Tim Drives, on the show.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and have a conversation, because I'm like, brother, come on now, what the heck's going on? I mean, like you see this. I don't even understand how they should become independent.
I think that Black Republicans need to move. There's a lot of white Republicans that have moved independent, so I don't say that the independent party is like all together. There's different factions and different reasons why we're in it. That's why we call ourselves Black independents. But I think that Republicans would do well, including our friend, do well to move into the independent column, especially if you have, the independent party across the country is growing leaps and bounds. People are moving from the parties, young people in particular, excuse me.
Yeah.
Moving into the independent space. There's while there's not a Democrat Socialist Party identified yet, I understand Mondami is doing great, at least by the folks that I follow. He seems to be making some really great decisions, and he's being very open and honest and out up front about the state of affairs in New York City. I could compare that to Trump and his honesty, because you know how Trump got out and said, oh, the past administration were bad, bad, bad. And that's kind of what Mondami's doing about, but what Mondani is saying is true. What Trump is saying is a lie, and the numbers tell you that, right?
Sure.
So I think Mondani, the position that he left, just got filled with another Democrat socialist. Now, I said that to say people are looking for something different outside of Republicans and Democrats, right? And Mondani acts like an independent. AOC acts like an independent. And Black Democrats would do well to stop being so married to the Democratic Party. Even if you're wearing the title, you need to speak to more like an independent. I don't know what to say about it, but I don't want to hear someone who's married to the Democrats.
What I do know is the midterms, people are looking for solutions. They're not looking for Trump is this, so you have to vote here. That's not what people are looking for, and particularly not young people. They want answers, and the Democrat
don't seem to have solutions.
And they're not saying anything. We don't see any direction. I'm not getting anything. What the plan is, how we're going to move forward, other than just vote blue.
Right.
And that is just so 1990s. That is just so 1990s. It's not going to work.
Yeah. I think the parties may be compromised by by Israel and by whatever's going on in those Epstein files. There's so much that are being uncovered. So if 3 million files have been released, that's a big number. But
a
if
big
there's
number.
but
They
if
say
there's
it's
6 million
3,000 more.
files,
They still
right?
have 3,000 more.
3 million more. So
3 million.
if the number is 6 million and you only release 3 million, and the 3 million is pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
What the heck is the remaining 3 million going to tell us? It's got to be
And
really bad. Another reason that I focus not so much on the on Trump, I focus more on the voter. Who voted for you? And are you still
right.
voting for him with the information
Well,
that you know?
yes, because if you're looking at any of the YouTube podcasters, they're walking it back now.
Yeah.
They're still trying to protect them, or it's not really showing anything. It's not indicting anyone. It's no proof. And it's like, just the pictures alone are very disturbing.
Yeah.
And anyone, and most of these are all white boys and young men. So
Right. The only thing I would say,
who probably have the same ideas as their uncles and daddies, So,
yeah,
but it is the white women, and we'll say, what the Epstein case exposed is not just abuse, yeah, it's hierarchy, and that is something they want to have, something they're
yeah,
gonna they want to keep. It is something for if all America going to work for everyone, it has to start over. It's
it
going to
has
have
to start over.
it's going to have to burn down. It is not going to work
Oh, every time you
because
say that, and I know that Josh said it, Attorney Josh said it last week. It's gonna have to burn down, and it's in
it's
the
going to have to
process
burn
of
down because
moving.
I don't see how I could be in this country as a law-abiding citizen. Because if I see Trump, I don't think you're better than me. I don't think you're more important than me. But I think the
Right.
rules, if you want me to follow the rules, then goddamn it, you got to follow the rules. You can't have rules for me
And yet,
and different rules for you. It
but
doesn't work like that. And I'm paying all my taxes too.
Mona,
No,
it does work that way, and it has always worked
I
that
know it
way.
works that way. But
Okay.
people are going to, because in I think it was 2018, 2019, and we didn't even know this when Epstein first got compromised.
Mhm.
Got arrested, he went to trial. Well, this
Okay.
man, I didn't even know anything that this was even possible. He must be had like 3 months or 18 months. I can't remember. But he
Yeah.
went to jail at
Right.
night. He was able to go to work. I was like,
Yeah.
what?
And
What kind of
continually was doing.
and then they say he was still continuing sexual relationships with these young girls during that time in the daytime.
So I want to add to your closing and pretty much say that it's cultural. It's cultural. And when people say, the Black culture, people know what the Black culture is, right? And they'll say, well, what about the Asian culture? People pretty much can identify the Asian culture, even Mexican versus Puerto Rican versus whatever. And then you might ask, well, what's the Indian culture? We can pretty much tell you what the Indian culture, we can identify it. What's the white culture, right? Can you identify the white culture? And the only thing that I could say is it is one of, since they got here, lying, deceit, stealing, raping, killing. That seems to be, and then silence about it all and projecting that onto others, right? I can't think of any other thing when it comes to the white culture. Just sit and think about all the cultures and what they bring to make America America, right? And I heard Mike Johnson saying today, Well, the problem is they come here and they don't assimilate. That's what you're supposed to do. The Bible says, and he said, and I was like, and I
And he
wrote
can
in the
sit up there
corner,
and quote
that's
the
why
Bible.
nobody wants to be a Christian, because you guys are bastardizing,
Yes, yes.
bastardizing what the word is actually telling us. He said, the Bible says generally that you have to come here and assimilate and follow the rules and whatever else. I get follow the rules that are in the country, but I don't get assimilation where I have to forego who I am, my culture, to, and I think that's what white people, I'm not talking about the Mexicans or the Puerto Ricans or they're mad at us and them. I'm talking
Oh, they
about
want to be white. They
people
keep
that
saying
are Irish, not even the Irish so much, because
European.
you see Irish bars,
European.
but they tried very hard to be white. But what is white? It is lying, it is cheating, it is stealing, it is all of those things, raping and whatever, and then being quiet and saying, no, that's you, that's not us.
All they know how to do is take.
But what else are they bringing to the table, right?
Yeah.
I mean, foods and dances and what else are they bringing to the table?
Nothing.
Even the inventions, I'm understanding that a lot of the inventions in America started with Black folks. GPS, stoplight, all of these things that are in our lives. So what are they bringing to the table, and what have they brought to the table since they got here? And Black people have refused to assimilate into that. That's all I got.
Well, some people get to tell their stories loudly. Some get NVDs, NDAs, and they're able to rebrand. And others are reduced to sealed files. When powerful women minimize exploitations, they don't protect the victims, they are protecting the system. And that's what they do.
Yep. And it's a system that is full of lies, full of raping children and adults or the underserved. It is a system that, as our last guest told us in the previous show, all of it needs to be burned down and we need to restart. And I think conscious Black people need to be at the forefront of what America becomes in the future. That's my opinion, and that's pretty much out of where I'm operating, out of that understanding of it will be burned down, and we have got to go in and have a plan for how to rebuild America.
And a recurring theme with us last week when we were talking about ICE and Obama when he became president, that he wasn't bigger than the system. The victim, could never be bigger than the system.
Yeah.
It is why the system has to be rebuilt. It has to be
rebuilt. It has to be built.
It has
so
to be rebuilt.
No going back to normal. No going back to what was normal. They call that normal. We just need to get things back to normal. No, that did not work for Black people. It didn't work for a lot of you. You just didn't know.
And it ain't working. It ain't working for them either.
Right. So I say it didn't work for a lot of you out there, but you just didn't know it wasn't working for you. But Black people knew. We knew from the beginning that while democracy had a lot of promise, it was not working for a lot of people. And that is what we've been fighting for, our ancestors, to this very day, So I don't know, Mona. proximity and silence. Those are the two words that I take from tonight. Those two words have gotten us where we are today as a country. And we have to get white women to stop being silent about what they know and what they see. And they don't have to be protected by white men. Or
And so, Jeanette, I'm waiting for the NAACP, the Black Caucus, the Urban League, someone to give us our marching orders. Because we're in February now.
They're not ready. I don't know that.
We need to be an agenda, a plan. And I mean, they might have that.
I'm going to suggest this. I'm going to suggest, you know, our friend Rodney Jones. Rodney gave us a plan from, and I forget who. I just kind of started reading through it, so I don't know who the plan was developed by, but it does talk to the various issues that are important to the Black community. I suggested to him that he should probably come on and we can go through each one of those issues and see how well it aligns to what Black Americans are saying and what they want. Somebody has to amplify a plan. Nobody is really doing that at this point.
I think ADOS. I see ADOS has been consistent and they talk about reparations, but we won't get behind
correct. So this plan may also have elements of repair, but not as specific as what ADOS has or what FBA might have. But to begin talking about a plan to say, okay, let's build from this plan. Anyway, I said, if you want to come on and you want to talk about the plan that you keep throwing to me and Mona to read, we can do it, but we'll do it on air and we'll do it with you to decide, is this a plan that we can take into the future as something that works for America. Now I say that because that's whatever we do, even though it's reparations for Black folks, it works. It helps America if we can secure those. So anyway, we're at 55.
All right. Great show.
Yeah, great show.
Can you give out Walter Smith email address again? You wrote it down?
I did.
It's in Walter. It's in the
comments.
Oh, you put it in the
it is in the comments. Yeah, it is in the comments. So if you look through the comment section at the beginning, we've got Walter there. And anytime I hit on it, let me, you know what, I should be able to.
I think it was.
There we go.
There it is. Sierra.
There, you see it?
Okay.
Walter.Smith at Sierra. You can't, okay. I put it up.
I mean,
Walter.
It's so small.
Oh, Walter.Smith at sierraclub.org. Reach out to Walter. Again, find that thing that you do and start doing it. We'll notice it. And if we are all doing and moving in the same direction toward the same goal, we will get there surely. So, all right, everybody, that's all I have.
Absolutely. Good night. Happy American History, the Black Edition.
I agree. Happy American History Month, the Black Edition. All right, everybody. Good night.